How's it going, and welcome to episode 4 of the Michel PostCast, where today's guest is Cole James, a YouTuber, film editor, and digital effects artist who also happens to be a great friend of mine. I got to know Cole back in 2017 as a fellow Warframe YouTuber, who I had a great time with back at TennoCon 2017, and also made this live stream series with called On the Couch. Now, over the last 5 years, Cole has been working in LA on various Hollywood productions and has, right after the recent strikes, decided to come back home and focus on his YouTube and Twitch channels, which are naturally linked in the description down below. Now, what you're going to see today is two friends catching up with each other after 5 years and talking about what it's like to get started on YouTube, how all those YouTube skills carry over to Hollywood and the differences between them, as well as the struggles of trying to make real human connections in a competitive industry. My aim with this channel is always to share things with you that are interesting to me, which also includes other people. Over the last years, I've had various podcasts and various guests on, and it definitely has been a while since I've done one of these podcasts. I believe this is quite clear today, as I quite struggle to manage all the tasks of dealing with the new podcast technology, trying to structure the podcast, as well as actively listening to the conversation at hand. Luckily, Cole has tried a couple of times to break me out of it, which, although sometimes a bit awkward, I'm very grateful for that he did that. I don't know when the next podcast will be, but I do hope that I'll be able to continue to improve myself and talk with a lot more interesting people to learn about their experiences in this thing that we call life. That said, though, I hope that you guys will enjoy this podcast with Cole. So welcome everyone to the very official, not second or third start of this podcast. It's so professional, I know.
That was beautiful, honestly. I'm actually really impressed by the editing and effort too. I'm actually
the editing right at the start.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. How's it going, man?
It's good. It's going.
It's going.
What are we? So just to let you guys know, I was actually hijacked to be on this podcast. I did not do it with my own will. You want to get that disclaimer?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I know I signed an NDA, but I really couldn't care about your NDA, to be honest. So.
No, it's fine. I mean, I already signed off on the Hitman, so you know.
It may look like he's actually in some other country, but I promise you right now, he is gunpoint over there.
Yeah, I mean,
he's in the next room.
I mean, you've ever seen those film sets where they paint it as though it's two different rooms? Literally, if I move too far there, I touch him.
Yep.
So that's.
How are you doing, dude? What's going on?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just taking everything day by day.
Yeah.
I think you already know. We talked a little bit, but that I've moved back from LA recently. I am back chilling in good old Florida.
Yeah. So
for the time being, at least. So
for those of you who may not be aware, Cole and I go quite a bit back to our Warframe days, where we made a bit of content together. Something obscure, some sort of live stream called On the Couch or so. I don't remember anymore, but yeah.
Something, very abstract.
Something very abstract. So yeah, what's for people who may not know, or whoever, what's been your story, man?
So yeah, it's been a really weird ups and downs from starting from content creation on YouTube in 2013. I posted a bunch of stuff. Got into really heavily into Minecraft in 2012, and that was the catalyst of creating content. I was just I like these Let's Plays. I like the idea of just being a persona and also entertainment. I think joy and laughter is one of the best things that this planet Earth has to offer. So I was like, you know what? PewDiePie can do it, so can I. So I started posting videos in 2013. Steadily till I'd say 2016, 15 is when I started taking it a little more seriously. I was working on Warframe stuff, got partnered with them. Really enjoyed the community I started to build from that. So that was even more of an enticement to be this content creation thing is actually something kind of serious and in a really meaningful, heartfelt way. And then as you guys all know, I stopped making Warframe content because no, I just got bored of the game.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say?
So what's the big thing? Well, actually, there were two things I was gonna say. First of all, I was the moment you said I started out with Minecraft content, I was like, oh shit, what? I didn't remember that, and then I remembered you actually had a first channel. I don't know. Was
yeah,
that?
we don't talk about
Yeah.
that first channel.
Where?
I messed up the AdSense on it like an idiot when I was like 13,
Yeah.
14. I was like,
Oh
sure.
man, no one can mess.
But
No one can mess up the AdSense as bad as I can. But
yeah,
Yeah.
it was becoming a bit of a hassle because
Mm-hmm.
I was putting the more hours in. And I needed some sort of like financial income to kind of work on the business. And as soon as I got the second channel, it was a lot easier. But yeah, so I did Minecraft primarily.
Mm-hmm.
I did just a bunch of different games, and then I found Warframe in 2017, 15,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even like 16. And yeah, since I stopped playing that, I've been in LA for the last 5 years.
Oh, wow.
I have been working on movies,
Mm.
Hollywood, television. Ooh, get excited.
Wow, I'm
Um,
super. I'm super.
yeah,
This is my completely. I'm blown
thanks.
away face. I am. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been cool though. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into when I went to LA
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago. I just was doing it as a teenager, just straight out of high school, thinking that I could probably get a better education, like hands-on experience from working in the film industry as opposed to going to college,
Mm-hmm.
which again, it's not off the table, but I think you told me something similar too, by the way, when we were talking. I think
Yeah.
we talked about how you were basically teaching the teacher at your
Yeah.
school. You're like, what is the point of doing this? I already know all the stuff that I need to know
Mm-hmm.
and then some. And so basically, I had a couple mentors in LA, and they were basically saying the same thing. Like, there's nothing we can't teach you that you don't already know, and then some. And so I just kind of got catapulted into the industry pretty much right out of high school. So it's been weird. And then I just came back. Yeah, the experience is definitely something that I don't regret doing. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely a different environment from YouTube. Going from YouTube to Hollywood's,
Mm-hmm.
strict deadlines of like, but this needs to be done this time. This needs to be done a certain way. It's a little more crossing your T's and dotting your I's. So I wasn't quite used to that when I started.
Mm-hmm. So before we continue, there's one thing I noticed. Like there's like a little bit of a sync issue between you, like your video and your audio. Are you by any chance using like the USB connection on the Canon camera?
I am, yes, but I'm also recording my. How bad is it?
It's like about
Test
like
1, 2,
it's a little bit.
like a second off.
Yeah. So I can imagine it may be bothersome for some people, but if like I know that's part of like the USB connection on the camera because that's also something I've run
Test
into.
1, 2, 3. Hold on. Let me see how bad this is. Stand by.
It's not too bad. So
I'm recording the audio and Audacity.
I
if you
think we
want the
can I
audio
think we
for
can
later.
keep it. Maybe we should do a little clap. Okay, I do not hear any of those claps. I don't know what you did. I did not hear any of those claps. But
Testing 1, 2,
I hear
3.
you
Can hear me?
speaking. So, hey, something works.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not hearing. I think it's like the Discord like noise mitigation, which is doing its great job. But I mean, it's fine.
Well, like I said, I'm recording the audio.
Yeah.
If I want it for later. So
It's
no
fine.
worries.
I think we'll be good. I just want to make sure that we're getting ahead of people who may be like a little bit annoyed by that. We're aware of it, but that's just the way that technology works. So
Listen, no one's saying anything in the chat.
no, not
It ain't
yet.
a problem.
Not yet.
They like the quality content. Yeah. Okay. All right, go ahead.
So to me, it sounds like well, first of all, like that's. I think it's like a very interesting story. Like in one way, it sounds like you already very quickly knew what you wanted to do with like the moment that you went into like content creation through playing Minecraft and watching PewDiePie and stuff. Like having this set path of like this is kind of the industry that I want to get into. But then like trying to find your way is like what is the best way of going about it. Especially like looking at like how Warframe gave you certain things that Minecraft couldn't give you, but that also tied you down. And then how like Hollywood was hopefully going to be a way to, like give you a different kind of experience, maybe a different kind of trajectory to your career, and how that's also giving you a different sort of thing in return. Where do you want to start with? Like we could talk, like I think we can talk many different things. Is there any point of there where you want to start out with?
Yeah, content creation is definitely have a different perspective on it since I've been in LA. It's not as like cut and dry, and I think there's, I feel kind of like crappy when then people are giving a lot of attention to detail, but for a good reason. There's a certain level of quality that has to be met in order to sign off on something. And so I think it kind of just gets me a little more excited for what I plan on doing with whatever future YouTube endeavors I have, because I'll have a bit more of a sharper eye for certain things that I normally would have brushed off, whether it's as simple as like you know, a cut on action, which is where somebody's doing one thing in the frame and you have to kind of like, whether it's a vlog or whatever, you have to match that to make it feel like real life. Small things like that kind of opened my eyes a little bit that I wasn't aware of prior to going to LA when I was doing like vlogs on YouTube for like TennoCon or whatever. And just I think the precision to detail is kind of what I've really learned in these, if I could sum it up in anything.
So, well, let's talk about like the Hollywood experience then. You mentioned that for you, I think like we've both had the same experience where we felt that what we're learning is more of like a practical craft, so it's better to learn in the field, hit the ground running rather than necessarily go to study it. So how did you get to the point to decide, let me move to LA, let me go and work in Hollywood? Like, how did that happen? Because that seems to me like it's like an aspiration that probably a lot of people have, but few really act on.
I think because most of them will have the idea that Hollywood is someplace that you can go and make a quick buck and become like a movie star or whatever the idea of it is. But I actually I'm a very analytical person. I'm very to the point, and like if something makes sense, I'll do it. If something doesn't make sense, I'm not going to do it because the odds are not in my favor. And I just realistically thought about it. I was like, I am doing, you know, I like post-production. I love editing. I love film editing. I love anything in that realm. And so I feel like it would make more sense for somebody like myself as opposed to just some kid from like Tennessee or Alabama trying to go be an actor in LA. I just feel like the odds are a little more in my favor. I'll actually learn more too.
Yeah.
So honestly, how I came to the decision, I don't even know. I had friends out there, I had a family friend, and they wanted to give me like a test trial for an internship. Again, this is when I was like 19, just for high school. And so I gave it a go, and like they said, they basically couldn't teach me anything that I don't already know. So that's kind of when I knew I was in a good spot for at least for a while. So yeah, I didn't expect to be out there for 5 years though. It was supposed to be like a 2-month thing to see how it went, and yeah, it turned into 5 years. But
so what happened there? How did 2 months turn into 5 years?
Work just kept coming in. There were films that needed work on, like whether it was just trailer editing or whether it was some light visual effects work, which is funny because I actually just recently got more into it in the last year and a half, which is what I was just finishing this project just now. But yeah, it's just weird why move if you have, you know, like if something's not broke, don't fix it is my thing. And money was coming in, I was getting a ton of jobs, and I think, you know, people are looking for those kind of people that have those certain talents in LA because they're a little more rare than, like I said, just some dumb actor that wants to be like a movie star, like Texas or some shit, you know.
Yeah.
So
like what you're saying is like basically if you don't necessarily go into that industry as like I want to make it big as like a random actor, right? But you're going out.
I think everything needs to have reason to it. So if you're interested in all in graphic design, whether it's photoshopping or light work, photo retouching, anything like that in that realm, then you have a way higher shot of actually getting consistent work. Which says there's always Photoshop work. If you do headshots, whatever, there's always certain categories of work that are always available in LA. Like, I mean, minus the drought because of the strikes. We'll get into that later, but yeah. So just if you have those skill sets, you will thrive in LA.
So did you think like how long for those 5 years were you feeling like you were on thriving mode?
Oh, now we're getting into the good questions, huh? Okay. So it really was the first like 3 years, and it got better and better every single year. But the last year, 2022, obviously COVID took threw a giant wrench in things. Had to come back for a little while, but I always had the intention of coming back out there, and I did for another year and a half to 2 years almost. But I think the last year, like I said, because of the strikes, the Actors Guild and the Writers Guild strikes caused a lot of stoppage from the workflow. So if I had to guess, probably around 2022, the beginning of 2022.
Yeah. So the strikes were like a really big impact. So like, I've heard a little bit about the strikes. A large part of them having to do with like the fear of AI, the demands from production, like that sort of the stuff that I heard in the news. But what was it like for you to experience, and how do you understand what happened there?
I just don't think people are getting paid enough for what they're worth. I think everybody knows this. There's, you know, there's people that are afraid of getting their jobs taken, like you just said, by AI, and the work that they're already doing is not being, charged enough for. And studios are cheap. That's another thing too. Being in this business long enough, I've seen now after these 5 years, like studios are cheap as crap. Like they will cut corners wherever they can, and when it comes to diving into somebody's livelihood, that's an issue. It's a real issue. So, yeah, I don't know what to say, but just studios need to get their crap together. Like I can't stand it.
Now that sounds like, to me, that sounds rather interesting. Like, because on the one hand, just a moment ago, you're saying if you go out there and you have the skills, people are really looking for you. I was supposed to come out there for 2 months, but I stayed at like 5 years because money and jobs kept flowing in. And on the other hand, you're saying everything is really, really cheap. People are not being paid enough. Studios are really cheap. So how does that work?
Yeah. You mean so with the cost of living out there as opposed to the cost of like what you get paid and stuff? Is it
Well, like if I hear from you when you join there, it initially sounds like a really great place to be if you have the skills. Because like if you have the skills, jobs will keep coming to you. As you said yourself, I had an income stream, so that was like I was happy to have that. And why leave if it works? But then at the same time, when we're talking about like the strikes and stuff, you're saying like it paints a little bit of a different picture of the industry where it's like, well, not everyone's really being paid what they're due.
You're right. It's not a sure thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a sure thing. Like you can do your best to have the skills and to look on Indeed, LinkedIn, all these different job listing sites, and most of the times, 9 times out of 10, you'll find something within like a week or less. And the thing about independent work is you just have to be a good squirrel, save up your nuts, for the cold seasons. Whenever there's, usually around the December to like February is when the industry kind of takes a hiatus, just to have like, time for family and whatnot. But anytime between like, March and like, November, it's all game, minus the strikes.
Yeah.
It was a weird anomaly.
So
but yeah.
So like, how much affected were you by like cheap studios and not getting like enough work for your work?
I personally never experienced that. I'm very picky and choosy with the films that I work on, and all the ones that I seemed like they were good, I took them on, and I enjoyed working on them for the most part, and they paid handsomely enough to be like worth the time and the energy spent into it. That's the biggest thing is when you're pitching an independent thing. Make sure you guys vet everything out. Make sure you guys question everything. Just because the more clarity you have, the more communication you have, the better it'll be down the road when you get thrown a bunch of shots that you have to do that you definitely are not qualified at doing. But yeah, just a little word from the wise.
So like, was that something where like you said you have family and friends there, like did they help you, like instruct you and like, hey, you gotta watch out for these points? Or was it something that you already naturally...
I will be honest, I'm not trying to like, auto-fellatiate myself, but I definitely think that there were times where I just kind of naturally picked it up, which is a weird thing, and I have to acknowledge that. It's like kind of a weird, just I picked up on things way easier than I think most people were expecting me to. So, and I think again, it's just because I've been editing videos since basically 2014, since I had my first little Acer computer that burned my legs.
That burned your legs?
Yeah,
what
it
was that about?
I think I even have it somewhere, but it was like a little laptop, and it just sat there, and the longer it stayed there, it literally cooked my legs.
Really?
The thing that had a terrible heating system, but yeah. Anyway.
What program were you using?
Oh, Sony Vegas, probably.
Sony Vegas?
I was min-maxing, on Sony Vegas on this tiny little Acer laptop.
All right, so it's like...
I probably destroyed that thing.
To give you a bit of context, I started out with Windows Movie Maker, which was like the pre-installed thing. However, I
had standards. I had standards.
Yeah,
okay? I can't go that low.
I mean, at least like I let my computer record until it literally like shut itself down due to overheating. Like I would have, basically when I started making videos, like I would record, especially if it was summer. Like I would be able to like start it up, launch into a game, hit the record button, and then like I would have anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes to record my footage before it would just like shut down. And then like, I just had to hope that it saved the footage. That's how I'd do it. So
yeah, did you ever have a blue screen of death on your old PC?
All the time. That was
as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, it's probably overheating again. I'll let it sit for like 10 minutes. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and then you could go again.
not thinking that I'm absolutely just toasting the motherboard and just destroying the entire computer. But it was from a friend of mine, actually. I actually owe all of my content creation and any of this journey that I've been on because of him. His name is Luke Harden, if you're watching this. He's a gangster. He's the one that got me into Minecraft, and he's the one that gave me my first laptop, and he's like, yo, now we can play Minecraft together here. And so I was like, let me go one step further. Let me make some content from this.
Wow.
And one more thing about the cringe Minecraft era. I had to fake voiceovers. This is how far we've come, ladies and gentlemen. I had to record the gameplay of Hunger Games in Minecraft, and then I had to do a narration as if it was in the moment. It was very cringe looking back on it, but that just shows you the innovation and willingness to adapt.
I mean,
my environment.
I mean, if you would have done that over like Call of Duty gameplay, you would have now had a channel with like 34 million subscribers, and you'd be in like a little bit of controversy about a reaction content stuff. But you'd dock someone, and you'd be okay. So
right, team start.
But yeah, but yeah, no, like that's interesting. So like, sounds like you had a good friend there.
Yeah, he was a good one. I still talk to him and stuff, but he's busy with Disney. He works here in Florida at one of the parks. But yeah, he's a good guy.
Did he do anything with video editing, or was that something that like?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that. He's the one that was kind of like I remember going over to his house like when I was like 13 or 14. He had this program, Sony Vegas, and I was like, oh, this is cool. What do you do with this? And he would show me like edits on like early stage of YouTube, like early YouTube, of like these MLG montage edits that he did just for fun. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. You made this? You did this right here? I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. So then he was like, yeah, get this, this, and this. And then of course my computer shut down multiple times because it couldn't handle it. But that was the catalyst that kind of made me like, okay, let me get a better computer. Okay, let me get better editing software. Okay, let me upgrade this, and this. So yeah, it's a weird domino effect.
So he was the one that set you up with both games, Minecraft, and set you up with video editing.
Yes. So technically, he takes all of the acknowledgement. He takes all of the.
Was he also your first subscriber?
Him. I think my mom was actually. No, he probably was, to be honest.
And like how often did you guys stay in touch like throughout your journey with like whenever you moved towards like Warframe and then moved to like other content? Like, was he always there to critique your work or stay up to date?
For a while, yeah, because he was in. If you watch some of my older videos, he was in most of them. But we just kind of stopped talking as much. You know how it is with friendships from like high school. You keep in contact, but it's just never the same. So I definitely want to, spend more time with those people. I think now that I'm actually in town is a little different. When I was in LA, I definitely, it's my own fault, but I got so busy that I kind of just didn't have time for a lot of people. So I'm definitely wanting to like work on certain aspects of like relationships in that sense, and so hopefully you'll have him on stream soon or something.
if he's interested, I mean, yeah, sure.
Let me ask you. Let me flip the interview on you a little bit. Like, what's been going on with you for the last couple of months, in the last couple of years, actually? Because I know you have something to tell.
I mean, like I can tell. It sounds to me like you.
Well, we're talking about history and stuff. We're talking about
it sounds to me
of oneself.
It sounds to me like you want me to start somewhere, or like, do you have a?
Yeah. Let's say 5 years ago as well for myself, because I was leaving the YouTube space. Not in a serious way, but in a way where I wasn't doing daily content as much as I used to.
Yeah.
It was a different change for me, so I can only imagine that you were going through some similar ebbs and flows of life.
So like 5 years ago was around 2018, I think. Jeez, it sounds so weird. But yeah, so like to give a bit of context, back in 2018, we were still. I mean, we were 1 year. It was 1 year after that we were like the young buckos in like the Warframe YouTube space. It was like the year before was the time that we did our on the couch shenanigans, which was us just like sitting in both on like a virtual couch on stream. I think you found some sort of couch asset, which was literally straight up ripped from like a, I don't know, porn video or so, because people kept referencing that. Oh, like the couch. You mean the casting couch?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sure you don't. Oh man. And then we had that. And around that time, I remember 2018, start of 2018, we kind of, we were having some fun with the Warframe content, but we could also see the limitations of it. I think that a couple of the big limitations of being and like creating content around just like one specific game is that you're super dependent on what the people that make the game do, and that's also like the limitation of like your scope. So how do I explain this properly? It's kind of like if someone creates a really good story or creates like a really good like even like a really good YouTube channel sort of thing, like really good videos, a really good movie series, like Star Wars, for instance. I mean, people can talk about that endlessly, but a lot of times, like, there's one core thing that they want to talk about, and then like there's a lot of stuff that they add around that where you can also engage with. So it's really interesting at the start. For me, Warframe, when I started, that was a really interesting game. However, at a certain point in time, like it remains to be something that one person made, and if you can only talk about that one thing, after a few years' time, like you'll end up like having covered most of it. I think that we both kind of had that around 2018 where we discovered we're like, hey, we played this game for a long time, and there's a lot that we learned from it. But if this is the only thing that we'll do for the rest of our lives, we'll be very unhappy.
Yeah, you're just limiting your creativity. You're keeping yourself in a box. And that's kind of one of the main reasons that I went to LA, because I didn't want to stay in that box. I wanted to actually expand in that box and to have abilities and have skills that I could actually make stuff that wasn't in said box, which again is probably where you decided to change paths as well. You said you did some stuff in AI as well recently. Is that right?
Yeah. So like basically around 2018, like I decided to kind of like try and switch things up. It was around the time that like we had been working together for like a year or so, and you were a lot more into doing the more piece to camera content. You did some occasional vlogs with the TennoCon stuff, and like in between, I remember you doing some interesting videos. Where back then I was still doing very much like my video essays. So then,
do you remember FUF by chance?
Oh yeah, Fucked Up Fridays.
Oh, okay, you do. Okay, all right. Just had to make sure. Damn, you're a real one, bro.
I know my stuff, bro. I also don't like. It took me a while to remember, but I remember your first channel. I remembered like the final video you did on that, saying like, yeah, we're gonna move over to this other channel. It's gonna be exactly the same, but it's gonna be it's gonna be monetized.
It's gonna be monetized. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I do remember this stuff. What was I about? But yeah, so basically, like I remember like experimenting with that. That was also like around the time that I was like making these vlogs around Warframe. But I discovered very quickly what you said is like it's kind of limiting in a way, where like if I wanted to talk more about vlog, like about things interesting that I came across like during my visits on TennoCon and stuff. I wanted to talk more about like the tech that I was using, but I couldn't really do that with the game. So I decided, well, let me go and separate like the gaming stuff off to another channel, and then let me go and build out this channel as I'm trying to build it now. That I think around that time I was still quite happy with Warframe as it was. It was kind of like it was a fun aside that I could do on a second channel, and then on the first channel I could kind of explore more like my own style. It was also the time that I took it more seriously on streaming, and I had some fun time with it on stream. However, around that time I was also doing like Warframe events, and basically like these Warframe events were just like gathering together like 35 something creators that all like stream 2 hours in a single weekend supporting like a charity. It was a lot of fun to do. However, it was also like quite stressful because like you had to take like 30 months in advance to like try and like organize everyone, have everyone who has like their own little schedules to align and make sure that they be there on time, and then talk with like Warframe to like fix support and stuff. It was something that I did for fun, but it became a little bit less fun over like the next couple. Like the second time was all right. There was like a little bit of like drama around that, but I was like, okay, it's okay. Third time was fun, but I was like, okay, now I really got to focus on my own channel. And then there was like in 2018, there was a time where Warframe reached out to me to like have me host an event, and there was like a little bit of like mismanagement there, which led me to like not really have a lot of faith into me having a future business relationship with Warframe anymore, and that really set me on like, okay, so like what am I gonna do? I thought I had like a really great network of friends that I built up within my creator space, but that didn't really turn out to be the case, because the moment I quit the events, I didn't really have the place to like, what's it called? I didn't really have like the support that I thought I had. So yeah, 2019 was going to be my like work on my like YouTube sub year, just like build up my technical skills, build up consistency with streams. That's also when I did like my uh, I did a while like 5 days a week, so, like 6 to 8 hour streams a day, which which I didn't do for long because I really hated it. Because at a certain point in time, you're just like your life is just nothing but like streaming a game. But yeah, like at that point in time, I was like, okay, 2019, I'm gonna work, and in 2020, I'm gonna go and like explore the world, make more vlogs, focus more on the main channel, and yeah, then COVID hit, so I couldn't go anywhere. So that's when I decided to go study AI because I had nothing to do anyway, and I did that for 3 years. Graduated this year, and I'm coming back with making videos here on this channel, and then moving on to what's it called, like the game stuff.
So why AI?
Good question. I think it's because it is like very well related with like what we do. Like basically everyone is talking about like the YouTube algorithm. Like you have to like not only do you have to make good videos, but actually what's more important than making good videos is to make something that appeases the algorithm. So it's like if I know how the algorithm works, then maybe that could help.
Okay. I was going to ask you about the Warframe stuff before the event where they reached out to you. What were the main reasons that you started to enjoy it less and less, besides just being burnt out of the game, if that was the case? You said the more you did these things, the more it sounded like more of a job as opposed to something you really enjoyed. It was just more like crossing, just ones and zeros at this point.
Let me see. I think it wasn't necessarily that it became more of a job. It became very hostile. Let me put it that way. So like the way that we started out doing these events was literally just me sitting down with like some other guy, and we were gonna do a podcast. We did a podcast like this for like 1.5 hours, and then like we discovered that like the audio software hadn't started recording, so we had to do it all over again. And while we were like agonizing over that, it didn't work out, and we had to do it again. We were talking about like how some sort of like Twitch team somewhere had like done some sort of event where everyone streamed like a couple like 1 hour segments after each other, and I was like, well, that sounds cool. Could we do that with Warframe? It was like the very early days of like Warframe creators and people talking to each other. So like we kind of figured like, hey, why don't we just like get her like a whole bunch of people together to like stream after each other, make it like one big event. Like I remember back in the day, you had these streamers like Daniel the Demon who did like a world record event that felt like very much something happened right now. It was like a really big moment. It felt like more like a big event rather than just like random videos that people made. So I was like, man, that'd be kind of cool if we did that with like not just like 4 people but everyone. So that's kind of like where the thing was born out of, and like kind of like the entire idea of like, oh, it is going to attract like so many viewers, it will be the second biggest channel within the Warframe directory, that sort of stuff. Never really crossed my mind. I also thought it didn't really cross anyone else's mind because it was literally just like, oh, let's see if we could do something fun. And I remember that first event being so much fun, just chilling in the Discord, everyone just kind of like getting to know each other, being like, oh shit, you make cool content, you make cool content. I remember I think you were there as well for like the Discord like behind the scenes party that was going on throughout the entire 72 hours.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was wild. There was just like a whole bunch of people just like who like the way you have to imagine this is like I think a lot of creators grew up watching other creators. So like even though you all do the same work, you also have like a certain amount of, oh man, I've seen your stuff, and you have like a certain amount of respect for that. Or it's like, oh man, I was actually inspired by you to make these videos. Or like, I think there's also a big amount of respect of like, oh man, I really like the kind of like editing you do, the kind of style you do. So having these people for the first time really like jump into like a Discord call together and be like, oh shoot, like, are you the MCIK who's like making like these really like cool ass edits and like going like on edge within like the Warframe community? Like people would jump in like that and be like, whoa, dude, that's insane. And having that for 3 days straight is like, that's a crazy experience. However, after that,
Just to comment on that real quick.
Yeah.
Yes, that was wild
Yeah.
because I've always been like in a small bubble.
Yeah.
Most of my YouTube stuff, and then when I came into another bubble that was bigger, that people actually were aware of my stuff, it was kind of a weird feeling. I was like, this
yeah,
doesn't feel right. You guys know who I am. This is not good. Because again, I was the same way. I remember back in 14 or 15, I was watching some of Mogamu's videos. These are really early ones, just to like kind of get more information on the game. So like I had that bit of like stardom too. I was like, oh damn,
Yeah.
this is kind of weird. These are my peers now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
no,
continue.
like I think that was exactly what I was going for with that event. I wanted it to be something where if you were watching it, that it was like the best crossover episode ever. Like it was like, and it was going to be like Endgame, but then in a live event, whereas like everyone that you'd watch like would be there, and then for like the people who were making it, it would be really really fun because you'd get to like actually get together with each other, and not like because there was drama or something, but just because holy shit, like you know, like we're doing something together, and you'd actually kind of get to talk to each other. And then, like, overall, it would just be something good because, like, we do it for charity and, like, it would give us a good cause. It would, like, do something good in the world, and overall will be a good experience. However, like...
You still haven't answered my question, though. What was the downfall? Like,
Well,
where did you start to see where you're like, this is cool? And then, like, then it became something that you were,
Yeah,
like,
so
dreading
that
out,
happened
then...
within 2 months. Because, yeah, it happened within 2 months after that. So basically, like, the reason why I'm talking about this, why I bring this up, is because that event was like the pinnacle of like what I've been working towards to like build up like a Warframe creator Discord to like get people talking, that sort of stuff. So like to have this happen was like, shoot, like now we can do so much more. We promised that we'd do like a 100-hour event in October, and then about 2 months later, like the guy that I set it up with literally copied the same formula to partner himself on Twitch on his own channel.
I did not know this. This is tea. This is tea.
Yeah. So basically like what he did is he went out to message everyone that was on the previous event, being like, hey, we're doing the same thing, but now on my channel for like another charity. So y'all down? So I know because I spoke to a couple of people around that time who were like getting invited for this. They were like asking me like, oh yeah, you're gonna be on this weekend? I'm like, what? Because I didn't know. He never told me. And I was like, I don't know. And then because they were all assuming it was kind of like the same thing. And then when that thing started, I was actually talking to a couple of people who were going to be on, and also like being in the prep room and stuff. And basically like what they said was like, listen, this is only going to be for the charity. You're not allowed to swear. You're not allowed to say anything bad. You're not allowed to say anything to promote your channel. But like we're all doing this to like promote the charity, so don't say anything about your channel, don't reference anything. We'll put in shoutouts if like we feel like it, and you just do your stream. And they never did any shoutouts. So basically, like because like you have to imagine for a lot of creators, like time is money. Like you're literally like the time that you're the time that you're streaming on another person's channel could be time that you're streaming your own channel, getting donations, getting subscribers, getting ads reviewed or whatever, or it could be time that you're editing videos. So like if you're out there going to like someone else's thing to stream, like a lot of times like you're doing that, like it costs you quote unquote potential money, but you're doing that because it's either for a good cause or it's because, you know, like you're doing a collaboration. But here it was like, yeah, you know, like just asking people to do the same thing, but then to get this person partnered on Twitch. And he did get partnered on Twitch, so that's a good thing. But after that, everyone was kind of rightfully like pissed off and didn't really want to do anything with like this collaborative stuff anymore because they felt kind of betrayed by that.
So is that what threw a wrench and everything for you?
It sort of did because because now like, first of all, like the first event had this like what you say, like what you described this feeling of, oh man, this is so great, right? Like this is just like getting to like go into a bit of bigger bubble, meeting your heroes, that sort of stuff. The second thing that he did on his channel was something where it's like, oh shoot, like now people are literally just being used to like grow the follower count of someone else. So the third time that we had to do it, like October, because we promised the 100 hours. At that time, it was like really hard to like get people motivated to do something like this because everyone got like super suspicious. Like what's your intentions? Like, what do you want to do? I don't want to be part of this drama because like the people who hosted like that second event, the knockoff event, they also went out and like
the knockoff
events. Well, I mean like.
Hey, do you feel salty about this by any chance?
Not as much anymore, but I did at a time because it was literally like.
Because let's be honest. I mean, you don't have a. I'm saying this out of respect, but like you don't have a trademark for doing charities. I mean, it is charity at the end of the day.
True.
But what I'm wondering is like, was this the main reason that you were like?
No.
Kind of started the catalyst of like you being a little bit like trying to part ways with the community.
Not necessarily. It was like where first things were growing great. Like it was like, okay, you're getting people together, it's exciting, you know, it's fun. Then it became something where like, hey, you know, like you're literally setting something like this up together just for the idea of like, hey, let's create something cool together, for like everyone. And then this guy just turns around and says like, oh, I'm just doing it to get partnered, and then comes around and says to people who are asking like they would also say to people who are asking like, oh, why why are you doing this on your channel, not on like the event channel? Because we specifically created an event Twitch channel for it so that no one would get extra growth. They would say like, yeah, because Michel doesn't allow like the event channel to be used for non-Warframe partners, even though this guy never spoke to me ever about this. So like it kind of created this situation where like half the community was kind of like a little bit hostile, and the other half was like kind of suspicious. And then within that, I had to set up this 100-hour event that we'd promised. But normally I'd do that with this guy, but I kicked him out of the like organizers like right after that, because I was like, dude, like this is not in line with what we're doing. Like I've heard like the way that you're treating the people who came on there. I've heard so many complaints like, and you never ever talked about me. Well, talk to me. But I don't have faith to work together with you anymore. But then like he had installed like a third guy that came in, and there was like they were trying to like get things in trouble. Like it came to such a head that like we did get a 100-hour event running and going, but there was a time literally during that event, like that event was like a big event because we were on the front page on Twitch. We had like 1.3 million viewers over the entire weekend. It was pretty big. But we had somewhere in the middle, we had a point where we were almost gonna like hijack the stream sort of thing, because it was hosted on like someone's computer who was like really upset about a certain thing, and they were like, well, you know, I'm gonna cut the stream, and I'm just gonna like host the only people that I want to host. So I had to like get ready to like revoke the stream key and then get it set up on my computer, and I was like, bro, I can't deal with this shit. I can't deal with this fucking drama shit with people trying to like use all this stuff that I'm spending months and like days on to create, like just to like grow their own channel. Like my entire goal was not to grow my own channel. Like I was just doing it because it was fun. Like at the time I only had like 150 subscribers or so on YouTube. So I was like, well, you know, like I'm not here to gain anything from it. I'm spending hours and hours on it to like get this shit started and get it going. And it's so much fun when it works. But because of all this like drama shit, it's so annoying. So like you're doing it for people who are like just trying to like fuck it up to grow themselves. So that was when I kind of was like, okay, so I don't really want to deal with this anymore all that much, because it's still fun, but like people are constantly trying to like use it to get ahead. But hey, you know, like at least I'm doing it for this game I like. At least I'm doing it for the community. And then like in 2018, the fourth event that we did, that was requested by Warframe, and then they cut the deal. So then it was kind of like basically 50 minutes beforehand, before the event was supposed to start, like they dropped all their obligations. That
right after you've already done all your work on your end.
Yeah,
and everything. Yeah, of course.
They like went back on like their promises. So I was like, okay, so if like the creators if some creators that I involve in this are gonna stir up drama about it and make my life harder, and if the game like doesn't support me, and like that was like, I'm done. So that was kind of like, it was like the 1-2 for that, basically.
Yeah. They took out both your legs. You had nothing to stand on, really.
Yeah, well, not really, no.
No, I mean, like, it was a bad situation. But yeah, I mean, I think you made the right decision of getting out of that and using that as a golden opportunity to like kind of separate yourself and not feel like you're stuck having to do stuff like this because you've done it and it worked in the past. But like, be willing to branch out and like, you know, try something else.
Yeah, like the fun thing is though, is that I never really realized how what's it called? Like how good it was doing. Like back then I was like stupid naive. I don't know if you have those moments looking back on like your career.
Yeah, I was just making content for no reason just because I thought it was fun, and like I had no thoughts in my head about what the view count would be or if it would do well, and yeah, that's usually the best videos.
Yeah, but like I mean, like I was naive as fuck that I was doing these these events that like got that Twitch channel partnered and stuff, and I felt like it was going so well that I was like, okay, so I'm not really learning much from university, let me focus on this full time. But I thought I did that because I was doing well with YouTube, even though my YouTube was getting like 150 subscribers. So looking back and realizing that like this channel got partnered within like 7 to 14 days of streaming, and looking back that we made in one weekend like over 1 million viewers on Twitch, I'm kind of like, shoot, dude, I never realized that until like much later. Also, like, we made everyone grow in their follower counts by over 160% on average, which is just insane because there was no growth in Twitch. So, like, that sort of stuff, just to, like, I never realized that it was having such a positive effect when it comes to numbers, because to me it was just like, oh, it's fun because I get to, like, hang out with people who create stuff and we get to do something cool.
Yeah. And plus there was benefits on the side, but again, that wasn't like the forefront focus. But it just sucks that whenever that is the forefront focus, like that begins to take hits at the other aspects of the production part of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nah.
yeah.
Is that also something you've come
I mean,
across in Hollywood, like in your career?
what, the production side of it, or what do you mean?
Well, like where like the focus on like numbers and stuff like gets in the way
this
of.
last job I was working on has been very analytical and just over the top with maybe too much attention to detail, you know.
Mm-hmm. So what?
You don't want to get lost in the sauce.
So what like, I mean, like, don't say anything that you can't talk about. But what could I imagine, like, what it looks like? What are you working on?
I could probably show you. Like I said, no NDA, so we're good. We're all good in the hood. But yeah, it's been basically like a not a knockoff. Well, I guess it is a knockoff. It's a knockoff of Squid Games, Netflix original, and it's called Kung Fu Games. Basically, it's gonna be a bunch of like, the workload is like removing wires, digitally removing things from set, rigs. People are being swung around the room, and so you have to just remove wires and add, you know, blood augments whenever somebody's hit, or it could be as simple as there was a shot that took 14 hours to do, and it was basically like a studio, and you had to paint out and blend together the top of the studio to the tree line, this weird bamboo tree line. And they estimated like 3 hours on this shot. It took 14 hours. So there's things like that you come across. Like, this is why I said at the beginning of this, like, if you're an independent artist, whatever, you're a digital artist or whatever, just make sure you vet everything. Ask a bunch of questions. Make sure you double, triple, quadruple look at all the footage, whatever you're working with, because yeah, they think, and the thing that sucks about Hollywood sometimes is that when it comes to like being an editor and an artist, or somebody that's working more in the arts as opposed to the backside, which is the financial and all that other stuff, you come to the issue with, they don't know what it takes to create the things that you make, especially when there's so much attention to detail in certain shots, and you're working with these massive like 5,000 by 7,000 plates. Each frame is like, takes a good like couple seconds to render as it is. So you're having these massive render times, you're having these massive tasks to accomplish on these said shots for these plates, and then on top of all that, they are completely underestimating the time it takes to complete these shots. So yeah, it is a little stressful. Like I said, this last thing I was working on kind of took the joy out of it, kind of like what you were saying. It became more of a just a difficult task, and it kind of takes the art away from the movie making process, because yes, I can make a shot look only so good, like, you know, somebody's hitting your face with a hammer and you can get the blood and like, you know, parts of skull to come out, but you can only make it so good in like a matter of 5 hours.
Yeah.
You have to kind of cut it and be like, all right, this is done, ship it, and then of course they come back with notes, and you know, that's how it is. People also want to feel like they're making changes and they're doing something, so sometimes you have to give them notes to improve on, to make them feel like they have a say in it, just because, again, they don't understand the artistic side of the process, so you have to just kind of in a sense, like, kind of hold their hand a little bit.
Yeah, you have to leave some things that they can like note, and
exactly,
just so
to make them feel like they're
just so that they feel like, hey, I have a role other than just, you know, like just passing on what you give me.
Yes.
So when it comes to like, as it stands now, like what do you prefer? Which side of the career? Because like you've seen
boobs or butt? Probably butt. What about you?
I mean, like, I haven't seen like the more corporate side of the career.
Damn, you're not gonna answer my question. Okay. No, I prefer the artistic side, the corporate side.
No, but I meant more in. Also, sorry, that flew completely over my head.
You're just so focused on the notes, bro. I'm trying to keep this loosey goosey a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, boobs or butt? Answer my question. I know your chat's just waiting to hear this answer. Why are you having such a hard time? This should be like a split second. Let's just say in a perfect scenario, she has great ass and great knockers. what are you looking at first?
Good question. Good question. Good question.
We can move on if you want. I can feel like I'm making you visibly uncomfortable. So continue. What was your question?
I mean, like, you've been in, like, the Hollywood side of things, and you've been in, like, the YouTube side of things. So, like, as it stands now, like, what sort of thing, like, do you prefer? Because, like, YouTube, as you say, it's, like, a lot more loose. It's, like, a lot more, like, everyone's just kind of, like, recording their little vlogs. They don't work with these big-ass, like, plates, these big resolution things. You've learned a lot more when it comes to, what's it called, like, the finer techniques, like you're dotting your I's with, like, the Hollywood side of things. But it's also been a lot more, you know, like, you have everyone on your ass trying to get it right. So, like, where do you see yourself going from now?
I think there needs to be a happy middle ground. I think the YouTube is a good medium to be able to put out content that is highly edited and well produced, and you know, a lot of attention to detail and stuff. But it's not quite to the level of Hollywood. So I think that's a good middle ground to maybe. That's kind of where I want to start posting some stuff, whether it be short films or music videos or whatever. Because you can do as much as you can. You can really, you know, pay close attention to everything you're doing. But at the end of the day, you're the one that's, you know, basically like firing it off and letting it be. They always say, I've heard this term so many times in LA. It's basically that, like, films aren't finished, they're abandoned. And it's true. That's with any good project, that you have to just take your hands off sometimes. At some point, you have to be like, this is
It.
Not definitively, but it's good. And it's gonna be shipped. Because you can never make everything perfect. Everything's gonna eventually just have to be how it is. So I think YouTube is a safer middle ground when it comes to that, because you are able to still post the stuff that you want to post, but to a higher level that may hopefully make it stand out.
So you see yourself more, like, you said that that's what you want to make your content on? So do you see yourself posting soon?
I'm thinking. I do. I gotta, like I said, I'm thinking of just doing maybe some similar things that I've been working on, but just on a different scale. Like I said, whether it's some short films or some more music videos, it depends on what it is. But my passion definitely lies there, I think. And if something else sparks my interest, then I can always just start making videos on that about it. I just haven't really found that. And at this point in time, I'm working like on these things for, you know, my career and for any future endeavors to have more on my resume and reels. So that just kind of seems like where I'm at right now. But I wouldn't be opposed to something new.
When it comes, actually, like, when it comes to resume, like, this is something I've been kind of interested in. Like, how do they view, like, YouTube stuff on your resume?
Well, it depends for the gig. I mean, there's a lot of gigs in LA that I was looking at and applying for that were very much so heavily, like, social media editing based. So there are, like, you know, plenty of YouTube channels that need editors because they don't want to edit their own crap, obviously. So it's, you know, whenever you have somebody that has on their resume social media editor / VFX on, like, videos, that definitely does speak wonders, and it gives you a bit of an edge when it comes to that kind of side of, like, getting the job for a social media company or editing for a podcast. Or there's a ton of stuff that I see. That's honestly all on my job board, is always just a bunch of social media editing stuff. So if you guys are decent at Sony Vegas or Premiere Pro and you want a job, like, look on Indeed. You could probably get a pretty decent job. It's not, like, super high paying, but, like, you can work from your home and do this.
It's funny that you mentioned Sony Vegas and Premiere Pro, even though, like, the very first thing that I remember you telling me when you started working there, I was like, oh, I'm completely switched over to DaVinci because that's what everyone uses here.
And I did for a while, but it's just a little clunky. So if I'm doing my own projects, I think I'll work on them with more. Because the thing is, it takes a couple extra steps to do what you want to do in DaVinci than it does in Premiere. And the reason is because you have, again, it's the precision, it's the accuracy, it's the making sure that whatever you're doing on your keyboard and your mouse, you're intentionally doing it. There's an actual intention to what you're doing. So Premiere lets you kind of cut corners a little bit and just do things a little bit faster. So I enjoy that for my own projects. But
it's funny because I've completely switched to DaVinci right now since the stability. It's so much more stable than, like, Premiere. I've had, like, Premiere crash on me so many times where I'm working mid-project and basically DaVinci, like, just saves. And, like, it barely crashes, and if it crashes, it just, like, auto-saves so frequently.
It auto-saves, No, it's definitely more reliable and more accurate software to use.
Yeah.
So if you guys are wanting something better, then go for that. It's free as well.
Although for titles, I just, like, it has some good preset titles, but working with text, like, just your own text and then placing it wherever you want, I hate it. I'll like whenever I do these social media posts where I have text on like on my video, like I first make the video on like DaVinci and then I'll throw it to Premiere, and then in Premiere I'll do the text. Because you have to work with like those horizontal and vertical alignments, but then like it can only like it will just move it there and move it there. Whereas in Premiere you can just like grab it and you can expand your text box how long you want it to, how big you want it to be. I just don't care.
Yeah. There are certain advantages and disadvantages to both for sure. I think I've just been editing so long in Premiere that I'm so comfortable that I can do quick turnarounds in it. But yeah, DaVinci is definitely more of a solid software. I think I've just become more of a save freak in general. Like every 10 to 15 seconds I'm saving projects. So whether like when I'm working on these big plates in After Effects, like to get these things done, like just to load a couple shots, a couple frames in the shot, like it will literally crash. And so you have to always be ready for that. So
what's been the biggest like save loss that you've had?
The biggest what?
The biggest like save loss that you forgot to save and then it crashed and then you lost it.
Oh, I can think of a couple, but the last one that just happened was recently. It was a project on I was working on my MacBook, this entire show that I was working on just this last couple months. And I ran into a memory issue, and all of my backup saves were corrupted, and I lost about a day and a half worth of work.
Holy shit.
So I had to move operations to my Windows machine, which thankfully it's reliable and it's fast enough. It's got 32 gigs of RAM to be able to run everything efficiently. I don't even know why I didn't start with this, to be honest, but it was definitely like a heart attack moment. I was like, it was 1 o'clock in the morning and it said out of memory, and I tried like 40 different solutions and nothing worked. So I ended up having to transfer about like 500 gigabytes worth of footage and data to my computer, which took overnight. But
oh boy.
Yeah, it was rough. It was really rough. So yeah, I think again that's another thing I've learned from like being in LA is to be a problem solver. Just to, if something comes up and you have an issue, find any solution, anything that can fix it. There's no wrong or right way to do it. You just gotta get back to point A, and connect the dots.
I was just about to ask you a little while ago, like what kind of like hardware do you use? Because especially if you're working with like really like high resolution stuff. Like that's got to be demanding. And then when you said like I was working on my MacBook, I was like, okay, shoot.
Yeah, well, this MacBook is actually it's definitely, I think it's actually almost as fast, if not a little faster than my Windows machine, which is built to be fast. So I'm genuinely surprised. Like the processing speed in it is great. It just there was a memory leak and there was no real way of fixing it. I think it's because I applied one too many GPU heavy effects and it just took a shit basically.
Yeah. So, like, what kind of hardware do you generally see when it comes to like the industry there? Because like
most everybody out there works on Macs.
Really?
I've noticed that. Yes.
That is so surprising. Because like if
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
If you look at what's it called, like YouTube, especially gaming YouTube, you'll see that everyone like everyone that kind of like makes it big or wants to make it big, sort of thing, they'll all run like 3080s, 4080s. They'll run Windows with like the highest end CPU, highest end GPUs, 32 gigs of RAM minimum, goes higher oftentimes. So I'm kind of surprised that like Macs are used so much.
Yeah, I mean it just depends on like the guts of it. But again, what we see mostly out there are things called Cheesgraders. If you
the one with the
Yeah, they're big. These big boxes, and again, it's just a bunch of Mac parts, but they have good. As long as you have a good enough CPU, GPU, and enough RAM, you're good to go. I think the reason that everyone in the industry likes the Mac standards because of the ecosystem, because of the codecs that are built into Apple when you're exporting and you're rendering footage. You have certain codecs like Apple ProRes 4444 or Apple ProRes 422HQ, which are just kind of just industry standards at this point. But I think in the next 10 years, they're going to be done away with and added some new ones. I think MPEG, what's it called? H.265 is kind of starting to be used a bit more frequently than the MOV format. I know it's very technical talk, jobble Jew, but like.
Well, I mean, like I'm kind of waiting on AV1 to really start being used.
Yeah, it's not going to happen in the next like 10 years, I don't think.
I mean, like YouTube is accepting it, and they're saying that Twitch wants to move over to it, and like other platforms as well, because like it's better than H.264, which most like sites use nowadays. But it's just so slow. By the way, if you guys are wondering what the hell this means, it's kind of like The way that I would describe it is like if you have a video file, basically like the video file is like, you know, you're watching like the pixels on the screen. Like that needs to be stored in a file where it says like which kind of pixels turn on at what point in time. Now you could do that in a way where it's like we just kind of like uncompress, like store for every single frame, you store all the data. However, you can also encode it in a way where it's like, hey, you know, because the background here kind of stays the same, you don't have to store for every single frame like the same like information over and over again. You can also like kind of compress that, being like, hey, this stays the same, we can keep that the same. There's actually a very interesting video by MKBHD where he like re-upload it like the same video over and over again through YouTube, and you can really see like which parts of the like video just completely break down over time. But basically, like you have different ways of like encoding this information into like a file structure, and these different ways, some have like they all have different advantages. Some are like lightweight, some are faster, some are slower, some are like higher quality.
In the case of like Apple stuff and Apple codecs, the reason that the industry uses them so much is because they are the least compressed file formats in codecs, because you can see the most level, the detail of quality and accuracy, as opposed to things like H.264 or, as you probably know, MPEG-4s.
Yeah.
They tend to crunch things down, reduce color, reduce clarity, reduce pixels, all that. So.
Yeah.
But again, it's for easier consumption from different platforms like YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah. So like for the longest time, I think that a lot of files that you may come across are like H.264 in just regular use case. It's like a very common use codec, which I think NVIDIA owns like the property over. I'm not quite sure, but like anyway, like it's something that's like often used within NVIDIA cards. Like they have these special like encoders on their cards as well. However, the problem with that is that like there's like the rights of it are owned by some company. I thought it was NVIDIA or whatever, but that means that if companies want to use it, like if YouTube wants to use it, like they have to pay licensing fees. So there's been like this initiative to set an open standard, which is called AV1. And AV1 is a standard or like an encoding profile, which stores higher quality images on like a lower storage requirement. And because it's also like open source, because of that, like it's very appealing to big platforms like Twitch, like YouTube, which deal with a lot of streams. If they can have higher quality streams for lower data, with lower costs, that should only be better. So the latest generation of graphics cards from Intel, AMD, and Intel, did I say Intel? NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel all have like AV1 encoders. So if you have like a 40 series card, a 7000 RX AMD card, or an Intel Arc card, you should be able to encode AV1. However, so far you can only upload it to YouTube. The rest of the sites just don't accept it.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain. I wish there was more universal terms and more universal like codecs that we could all get behind that looked as good as some other ones do. But I think with time and technology advancing, I think we'll get there probably in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of holds it back as well is that, you know, like things are fine and people like don't care all as much.
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it type thing.
So it's like, I mean, like it's the same way why people like shoot everything with their phone nowadays, because a phone camera looks fine. So why bother with like a super expensive camcorder?
Well, it also matters too on what we're watching these things on.
Yeah.
So most of our screens are only really HD, like when it comes to phones. As more like I said, technology advances, we can get better viewing monitors and whatnot. It's just going to be a matter of time once those things start to phase out. We stop using MPEG-4s as much, and we start using, you know, like you said, AVIs or whatever else for the new standard. So
yeah. So I just saw him jump away. Is Keo still doing okay?
He's good. You want to see him?
Yeah.
All right.
The one and only. Back in the day, his channel used to be called MCIK.
He's been chilling with me today. Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa.
He's not. He doesn't want to be on.
He's not having.
He doesn't want to be on.
He actually wants to get out.
So back in the day, his channel used to be called MCIK. My cat is Keo, and that's the cat.
Keo? Felines, Keo. You guys are very familiar with this sucker.
Welcome back, you sexy felines.
Yeah, welcome back, you little sexy fucker. Come on, guy.
How old is he?
What was your question? He is 12 now.
12.
He's old.
Wow.
He's an old boy.
Mm-hmm. How old was he when you started the channel?
He was like 1 or 2. Because again, the whole My Cat is Keo thing is just kind of the evolution of that.
Yeah.
But
I was
good.
just informing chat a little bit about like Keo is famous for the channel name. I remember back in the day that like everyone like I thought that your channel name was like meant something like my cat is Keo, like Keo would be some sort of like I don't know like Japanese term for something. I don't know what.
Nope. Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. But everyone like I think everyone assumed that there was like a lot more behind it. So everyone's like, "Whoa, shoot, that's just
What is MCIK?
yeah. What does it
this
stand
mean?
for?" And it's like, "Oh, it's like you would also
My cock is cool.
yeah." Yeah. But you would also start out your videos like, "Yo, what's going on? Like, yo, what's going on, you guys? My name's MCIK, or my cat is Keo, or CJ." Like, you had so many. At a certain point in time, like you could kind of like have a bingo card and then just like cross out, and then just you never know which one you'd start out with.
Yeah, what's going on? My name is Cole, or MCIK, CJ, Cole James. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. I was going through a phase where I was like, do I want to keep this MCIK thing, or do I want to try and start to like phase out of it?
Well, when was the time that you started feeling like MCIK just wasn't cutting it anymore?
It was after I graduated high school because I was telling my friends about it. Like my channel MCIK, and every single reaction was the same. They're like this. Like what's MCIK? What is that? And then it felt so stupid to explain it. I'd just be like, yeah, my cat's Keo. Like, I was like, at that point I was like, yeah, it's time to change. Can't keep doing this.
It is hard to. I think it's always hard to explain it to people, like what you're doing. Like especially. If
I think though, at the end, one thing I've learned though, at the end of the day, it does not really matter. That's what I've learned is that if your content's good, it speaks for itself. You could be called like Jamama or something. Like you could be literally whatever. It doesn't matter what your name is if you produce good content and people like what you do. That's it.
Yeah.
In the story.
I mean, like, I think PewDiePie is a great example of like if I think he was also in like university or whatever. If he came across and said to like fellow like people in class like, "Yo, I have a channel called PewDiePie, and I'm gonna quit university for this." It's like
it's a little different though when now you say PewDiePie. And
yeah,
like
right.
Over like what 100 million or something like that. So
yeah, like now it has the weight behind it of like what's it called of like the channel. But I think that's like one of the biggest disconnects when it comes to what's it called when it comes to going over to like the outside world, and then whenever you're working in your little circle. Because for us, a name like Mogamu like holds a certain meaning because like he was the biggest guy in YouTube with Warframe around that time. But if you were to go out and like just like be like, "Oh man, I was in like a Warframe lobby with Mogamu," you talk about that with someone like in your class back then, like they'd be like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, go touch grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of like the outside world, like, can you watch like, how are you with some like other people watching your videos while you're in the same room?
I used to be really bad at that, and I've gotten a lot better. I used to hate the way my voice sounded starting on YouTube. I think I kept doing it because I wanted to get used to it. I wanted to actually become like numb to it, just so I could get over that hurdle. Because I used to hate hearing my voice. Like I remember when I was really young, before puberty hit, like I was abnormally squeaky, and I thought I was gonna have a squeaky voice for my entire life. And I still think I still think I do somewhat. It's like a higher pitch, and it's not as manly as I would like to be. But you know, it's fine. Like I've gotten more used to it, and so I think that was that was another reason why I kept kind of doing it, because it was getting me more comfortable on camera. It was making me more comfortable with my voice, and so
it's kind of interesting though that like you have certain things that you're like afraid, like you're a little bit afraid of, like you have like, you know, your voice, you're self-conscious about like the way that you present yourself on camera, and then the way to get over that is to practice it more, but not just practice it more, but practice it more in front of like a large amount, an unknown amount of strangers by just posting in a line.
yeah. Give me a second. This guy wants out.
He's had enough.
All right.
It's a bit of a strange way of going about like conquering your anxieties.
I'm just a problem solver. I feel like I've had this mentality, and so if I feel like I'm being stuck in something and I can't get out of it, then I'm just gonna go basically just head first into it, just to get over it or whatever. And so that seems like it's worked so far for 24 years, and I'm just gonna keep doing that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's better than just wondering what if, like what if I'll never get over this fear, or what if I never get better at certain things. You don't know if until you try. That's where just trial and error comes into play.
No, I think that you're right about that, because like if you just stay stuck, it doesn't really help anything. But
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not good for your mental. It's not good for your physical. It's just gonna wear you down, and then then you're gonna have a life full of regrets too. So you don't want that.
Yeah. Anything that you think we should talk about?
Yeah. What are your plans? What are you working on? What's the next step for Michel Postma?
So for me right now, it is just building up my content library sort of thing, like my frequency of content. So right now, what we have is like one scripted tech video a week. I have one vlog a week, and I have like one live stream a week. That's going right now, and I really want to add on, like on the gaming channel, I want to add like scripted gaming content, like just a game video, like a playthrough video kind of style that we used to do back in the day. Then do like a gameplay stream and just do some like free to play fun sort of stuff. I have like an entire like dice game sort of thing that I've thought up to like keep the streams fresh and interesting. But that's something that just requires a lot of time to set up. I mean, like I spent the last 2 days working on like this chat bot integration that should like allow me to read both YouTube and Twitch chat at the same time. But that's taking me like a lot of time to try and like integrate YouTube into this, because the YouTube API just doesn't like to work with it. I have to, for these new streams, like make logos and stuff. So it's literally just like slowly building it up. And then once I like can every week publish the content that I want to publish, then it's just doing that until I get bored of it. But I don't think I will, because what I notice is like a lot of times once you get started with this stuff on YouTube, you'll find out it will open up other doors. Like with Warframe, I never thought I'd be going to Canada, and then like harassing people on the con floor with like a big ass TV camera and asking them
That thing
like
was huge.
and then asking them like which like Warframe did want to fuck, like. Like I never thought I'd be doing that. Or asking this little kid like a weird ass question, and then this kid being like, wait, are you MCIK? Remember that one?
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah. I denied all accusations. I was like, no, I'm just some guy. I'm just here vlogging this shit.
I mean, like I think Philippe had it hardest. Like he had to give you guys a little bit of context, there's like this one video on my channel called asking people questions on TennoCon 2017 or whatever, asking annoying questions. It was basically like we had like we wanted to shoot something on the day, because like I always like the energy that you get from like a convention day, because like I felt we were
everyone's excited, everyone's anticipating everything. Yeah, their nerves are up. Yeah,
and like all the creators out there they're like, man, I'm gonna go create stuff. So like you feel like excited to create stuff. Because like, man, like I can do things, like let's go do things. Everyone is working on this, so I have my big ass camera with me, and then like the idea was let's go and shoot something, but we didn't know what. So like I had this like microphone set, and I just like gave Cole and Philip the microphone. I was like, go around, just ask people some questions. So they didn't know what to ask people, because I just gave them the mic and just said like go ask people, and then we just ran up to people and asked them some random questions, and then I remember Philippe came up to like D Megan. And he was like, worst time with Warframe so far. And like she just without hesitation responded, when I saw your face. And that made it as like one of the very first like highlight clips of the video, because it was just too good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm excited for your spice on all this stuff. You're adding a different take to everything you're doing and keeping it interesting, keeping it unique. And I like the interaction with people that you're going to have on the stream with the dice and with, keeping it. And also it's better for you as well as a streamer, because you're actually going to be able to enjoy things more without dreading something, because you have to play it, or maybe it'll be enjoyment because you have to play it. Like,
I mean,
Warframe.
I mean, I'll one of the things is that I'll go back to Warframe. Like, Warframe will be a part of it. Because it's still I haven't played it in ages, but I know it's a game that I've enjoyed for a bit. I know it's a game that a bunch of people from my community still play, and like I don't really have I used to have kind of this grudge against this game, right? Because like this was the game that I think that's also one thing that really put me off the game, because like this was a game that fucked with me at a point in my life when I was trying to build my own channel, and then they did something bad, and that like they never came back to me about it. So like I felt pretty betrayed by that. So then I was like, well, I don't really want this game to succeed now, but then again, if I wanted my channel to succeed, then I had to I was tied to it, so I really wanted to break from that. Now I'm like, I do games and I do tech and I do vlogs and it's like whatever, like, I'm not bound by whatever game, so I can also just more easily go back to it. And yeah, like, I don't know, it's like the thing that I really enjoy is like how unpredictable it is and like how far away things can seem sometimes and how close they can seem. So for instance, I know that like we both have had like when we were trying to like do different things after Warframe that you post videos we're like super proud of and like they do kind of bad in numbers, and it's just kind of like you keep on posting and it's like it doesn't really change anything, and you're like, well, shit, is this gonna be it? Like for instance, I had last week I posted, or like last little while I posted like a couple videos, and they didn't really like beat the previous video, like, and it was kind of like, well, okay, maybe I was just lucky the first 3-4 weeks that every single video did better than the other one. And then I had a couple of videos that were just stuck in 20 views and I was like, oh shoot, this is going to be it. Okay, well, you know what? Let's just better get ready to just keep on going and we'll see like how it's going to go over time. And then just literally today, like I'm just checking on this video that was like yesterday still stuck in like 21 views. That was like, well, that's kind of a good video. It was like gift ideas for under $100. I was like, well, maybe that'll do it. Maybe it'll do it. 20 views, like fuck it, whatever. I checked back in today, just open up the page. I see like 160 views. Like what? Now all of a sudden it's like it's on like 530 or so. So we have one that's climbing again, and like that's something that I think that kind of keeps it fresh. That things can just change, just like that.
Yeah, that reminds me of the TikTok algorithms, a little bit different than YouTube algorithm.
Oh yeah.
You can get viral literally overnight off of a video that you take like 2 seconds to post, and it's just like a thrown together thing. Like if it's funny, if it's relatable, if it's whatever, it'll be sent to the right people, and just overnight, like you can get like 20,000 views on a video. I've seen it, it's crazy.
I think that what TikTok does, by the way, is if you create a new account, they boost you in the algorithm.
Yeah. I think YouTube's kind of doing that now too.
I don't know because I mean, like, I haven't created a new account in a long time. But yeah, if they did that, that's on the one hand kind of smart. On the other hand, it's kind of like predatory because you start out you just record something. It's like, oh yeah, man, there we go, millions of views, and then you're stuck below forever.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be just a way to like get new content creators on the site and keep them there too. New people that are trying dipping their feet in the water when it comes to content creation. Like it gives them a bit more of an incentive to keep making content.
So for people starting out making content, like what would be your recommendations from like the years that you've been doing this?
Don't think too much on it. Just have fun with it. Whatever your passion lies in, find a way to showcase it in a sense. Whether it's artistic painting or whether it's playing a certain game. Enjoy it, do it, but also keep two eyes open. Like one eye on what you're doing, another eye on what everybody else is doing as well. Because you have to find a way that makes it different and unique to whatever the flow of water is going. You kind of want to tread the opposite way sometimes, just to make yourself stand out. Like whether it's putting a couch and green screen 2 people on it, like you were saying to me earlier in the other the previous conversation we were having, like it makes you stand out on the page of Twitch, where it's like as opposed to just a bunch of corridors and Warframe. Like whatever it is you're trying to do, and whatever it is you think you're really good at, find a different spin on it. Yeah. Because I promise you, and it takes maybe an hour to brainstorm, you'll probably find some pretty good ideas that are going to take it to the next level and make you stand out a little bit better. But yeah, it's still, at the end of the day, it has to be built on things that you enjoy. Whatever your passion, wherever your heart lies, I think is where you will make the best content from.
I think I would also add to that is like, don't be afraid to like copy initially.
Yeah, maybe not copy, but like, yeah, definitely take inspiration wherever you feel like it's fit. Yeah. If you really like a certain way a stream looks, take aspects of that, make it your own, and bada bing, bada boom.
Like the reason I say that is because when I started out, like I remember, like I had this thing where I felt like, oh man, I'm doing so great. Like I know what I'm doing. Like my videos are fantastic, and I couldn't even fill my screen with like full video, and my audio sounded like crap. So what I learned a lot from was like looking at like what other people did, and then trying to like do something similar, not like copy it word for word, but just being like, okay, it's like, well, how would this kind of style fit into like this type of content? And that wasn't really something where I was like, this is going to be my channel. But like, for instance, I did like guide stuff. I did some like some guide stuff, which was like, oh, this is how this works in Warframe, how that works in Warframe. That kind of learned me like how to write scripts. And then I did some some like play. I don't think I really did much playthroughs, but like I started out with video essays. Like I saw like I Hate Everything, and I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. You know, like just like formulating opinions, not just guiding, like doing like, oh, this is how it works, but also like stating your opinion and making it like kind of fun. So I had like the I Dread things, just to like kind of like try out that style. And then I remember like I got in touch with you after the event, and I saw like more of your stuff. And I think like a couple years later, I also tried like doing. There was like this one video. There's this one video which is literally just like me trying to make a call video, because that was for when Fortuna came out. You already had left Warframe, and there was like this one thing where you could go and like hunt animals in like Warframe. It was kind of like, I don't know if you've ever done that, but it's
I did. Warframe's Deadliest Catch. Go check it out.
yeah, but like that was that was like fishing, but now they actually had animals that you could go and like hunt with like things.
Yeah.
So I remember being on stream, like that was the time where I streamed like 6 to 8 hours a day. I remember like talking in chat when we were doing this thing, and I was like, man, you know, like Cole had like Warframe's Deadliest Catch. Like if he was still around, he'd make a video of like hunting like these animals here. Like I can already picture it. And I think it was Jen in chat who said like, well, like if he's not gonna make it, why don't you try it? I was like, nah, man, you know, right now I'm doing like these theory crafting videos and I'm doing streams. He's like, no, just go make it. So I decided, fuck it, let me go make it. And then like that kind of launched me into doing more, you know, like kind of like piece to camera sort of stuff, where just like me playing a game under like a fun pretense, and then just like fucking around with that, which is actually something that kind of stuck around a lot more than like I stopped doing the theory crafting stuff. But yeah.
I just feel like that format's easier to manipulate and to do and to branch out to different things. Like you have a lot more leeway, you have a lot more room to work with when you're doing that laid back format, and that's why I enjoyed it so much, because it was just, whether there was a new update or whether I just wanted to mess around and do something ridiculous, which ended up turning into the Baby Borrow series. Like that kind of laid back environment is what can kind of like blossom to different ideas, and you can make different things from it.
Man, the Burrow series. Okay, so like
Are we gonna talk about Warframe this entire stream, bro? Damn.
Wait,
just can't
how long
lives rent free in your head? Maybe you're like low key salty, so you just like keep name dropping them, like in the hopes that one day they'll be like, Michel, we are sorry. We apologize for everything we've done to you.
Am I bringing it up
Please
that much?
forgive us.
We've
been talking about Warframe for a good portion of this.
Have we?
Yes.
I feel we also talked a lot about like, you know, like the codex stuff. We've been talking about like the Hollywood stuff. We've been talking about other stuff. But it was just like you brought up the Burrow series, and like the thing that I just remember is like these grotesque thumbnails.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I would definitely take my liberties on the thumbnails. I definitely would have some fun with them. I don't know. I just think it's like, he's just a character. He's just a weird looking dude, and I was like, let's just make him look even creepier. And honestly, my friend Trent was egging me on a lot when I made the first one. He's like, this is good. Make it even weirder. I'm like, say less. And he's still to this day. He gets a crack out of the titles, like buried bulldogs, ball sack, or some weird combination of letters. But yeah, it was just fun. It was just that was actually the peak of like my not give a fuckitude, like when it came to like content.
I disagree. I think the peak was Warframe porn.
No, because I was just trying things. Whenever I stopped trying things and I was just like kind of shooting from the hip, I understand Warframe porn was definitely bad, but it was just because I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying things. But when I got to that, like you said, that medium where you can make content about a certain subject, but it's also super laid back and chill. That's when I started doing that Baby Borrow stuff, and it was just like, I like this format. I don't have to try too hard. Yeah. I'm kind of just shooting from the hip, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, the thing that I love so much about it is just, oh man, like to give a bit of context for people who may not know, is like Borrow.
Inner unpacked resentment for Warframe.
Yes.
We hate them.
Borrow is like this like random like trader that came up like once every 2 weeks. It was a very standard event. There was not much about this character at all. It was just like, oh, you can buy shit from it. It was like fucking boring. And like Warframe creators would be going wild for it just because like it was a very easy video to make, because everyone wanted to know what was on this trader. You could just literally just walk up to him and be like, hey guys, this is Borrow. Here is this content. Here's the stuff that he had. If you gave a little bit of like buy this, buy that, you know, you'd seem insightful. So it would always be these videos that people wanted to make for the views. It was very boring stuff. It would always be the same. And every single video is titled the same: Borrow Katir, date, and then like where he is, relay. And then here comes Cole, and it's just like, oh, the titles.
I was watching a lot of those videos too. I watched a lot of them, and I was like, this is boring.
Yeah, it was boring.
And I still wanted, because I was a Warframe. I think I might have been a partner at that point, and I wanted to make videos to kind of like let everybody know in the community, like, hey, this is going on. But I just couldn't come to terms with myself making that kind of content.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where I shifted. I was like, let's make this, but let's make this stupid. Let's add a bunch of memes, and let's just have fun with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely turned into something I was not expecting, but
yeah. All right. Well,
unfortunately, YouTube landscape changed.
Yeah, it changed a lot.
Yeah.
Are you afraid to like start posting again with like the YouTube guidelines and stuff as they are now?
Yeah, a little bit, to be honest. Because I mean, not that I couldn't be PC, and I can definitely I can navigate around this landscape better. I think it just kind of takes a bit of the creativity out of it, because you have to really be walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
It's not impossible though. No, I definitely could do it.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting, like the way that YouTube has changed. There's parts of it that I don't like, and there's also parts where I can kind of understand.
Yes.
I think like the biggest problem that we're looking at right now is that like they're trying to like make it for everyone, and because of that, like it's for no one. Like back in the day, like how would I phrase it? Like for instance, like they can see like the entire like iDubbbz Fall Love era, where like
Of course.
yeah. So like basically, like for those of you who don't know, like iDubbbz, big edgy creator back in the day, very well known for his content cops, where he like made systematic critiques about like various creators who were quite deserving of it. Did it in a very comedic way. And he was like pretty edgy in his word use, and like the hair cake, the videos that he did. He was very much like out there, untouchable as like this Warframe edgy edgy YouTube creator.
Bro, Warframe lives in your mind rent free. Just admit that on stream right now. You're salty about them not giving you their reparations, bro.
I mean, I'd like to believe I've moved past that, but maybe it is. Who knows?
I'm joking.
No, but like I mean, like he was out there being like quite the untouchable YouTube creator, and then all of a sudden he comes out and he's like, yeah, no, I don't like all the stuff that I did. I think all the stuff that I said was very hurtful, and yeah, I'm gonna unlist all the content cop videos.
Yeah, he really alienated his fan base, because that's the fan base that he garnered was these type of people that now he despises and like looks down upon. But I really don't think he genuinely thinks that. I think he's really just trying to stay PC and appeal to the masses. I think that he wants to. I think that what I'm saying is I think most creators that were from that generation either stopped creating or switched and did a complete 180, because either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I think most of these people are kind of choosing the prior.
Have you been keeping up with Cold Ones though?
Yeah, I actually their stuff's pretty funny.
Yeah, like
sometimes it gets a little too much, a little bit. I don't know if it's Aussie humor or what, but sometimes it's a little too slapsticky and too like in your face, and just like this humor is funny. If I was like smoking a joint and had a half a bottle of like wine in me or something, like this is kind of service level humor sometimes, but there's some gems in there.
No, I think that they're basically the ones that have kept it up the best sort of thing, like trying to keep the same style of humor alive. Like
right.
that,
but there's really so much you can do though. Because I mean, even their newer stuff is not crossing any boundaries that are like dangerous territory at all by any means.
No, but like I mean, like if you look at like Joji, who is, I think he's done it the most gracefully, just to like close off his career, saying like, hey, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna make any more, but also just like not like renouncing it, being like, fuck that, I hate it. It's just like, no, I'm done with this. I'm moving on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You either die off and you just let it be and let it pass on to the next life, or you live long enough and you become the person that you critique, which is kind of the iDubbbz effect, where you are now crapping on the people that you had such high critiques for, and so the hypocrisy is kind of crazy. But again, that's just what happens when you try and stay on a space that doesn't welcome that kind of content anymore.
Well, what I find weird though is like I think iDubbbz, like when he was making like those documentaries, like the Full Force stuff, like it felt like he was on a path where if he just kept up doing that and just kept up Creator Clash and then didn't fuck around with like trying to renounce his old videos, he would have been alright. But then moving
forward, opposed to just forgetting the past.
Yeah, but then like he had the Sam Hyde stuff, which didn't look good on him. And then he had like the what's it called? and then he had like the entire thing where like he felt bad about like how people talked about him and his relationship, and then then he had this entire thing with, oh, I hate my like my old stuff, and anyone who thinks this is funny is like not good, sort of thing.
Yeah, I got too political, I think, too.
Yeah.
But again, it comes along with the space that you're in when it comes to YouTube, because
Yeah.
you either are on their side and they promote you, or you're just completely not, and you just have to be cool with the numbers.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think it's entirely from the platform, though. It's kind of like, I think that when we're starting out, like when you started creating, it's just kind of like what's funny and like for you at that point in time. I think that a lot of the stuff that we look back at as like the edgy content that was out there, is kind of stuff that would used to fly as well in like Xbox lobbies, PlayStation lobbies, that sort of stuff. It's kind of like the gamer like rant that you'd have, and I think that like in those portions, like I really don't have a problem with it. I think it's more like the moment that you become so successful that this thing becomes a business, and then all of a sudden like you're a 30-year-old man who's like out here like having made quite a bit of money, and like let's say you go and like meet other people who've also made quite a bit of money, and then they ask you like, then you ask them like, how have you made money? And they're like, oh well, we've set up this production facility, like I own this and that, like how have you made money? And it's like, well, I've made money by saying dirty words on the internet. Like I can imagine that at that point in time, like you may not really be so proud of that.
Yeah, and I could see why you want to escape from that.
Yeah.
So
it's
what's the next best thing to do is to double down on it and to go hard as hell on the audience the artists that you gathered and you've made. It's like,
yeah,
okay, all right.
yeah. It's like I think that the platform plays a bit of a role in it. Like if YouTube was much more clear, where it's like, hey, as long as you do it within your own little communities, that's fine. Not trying to like make it like the moment that like what we had, like Jins mentions, like YouTube Kids. It's like I thought the entirety of YouTube Kids was that all the kids stuff would be on YouTube Kids, and then like we could just be as raunchy as possible on YouTube because there were no kids on here. However, ever since they had that like ruling where like they got fined because, oh yeah, having this word that says you have to be over 13 doesn't count for like age verification, all of a sudden like everyone had to be no swear words in the first 30 seconds of the video, that sort of shit. It's like at that point in time it was sad. But
I think maybe that might have been a contributing factor as to why I stopped doing as much too, because I feel like after I stopped doing the Baby Borrow series and other things that I have privated because of, again, the terms of service changing through the last 5 to 6 years, I don't know what's really good and what's not good. I mean, I have a pretty good idea, obviously, but like there's still a lot of stuff that's like, yeah, maybe this wouldn't fly. The humor wouldn't fly as much in today's day and age, and also in the platform's algorithm state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that I'm like dropping any like hard F-bombs or anything, like some gamer chat or anything, but it's just it's just the kind of raunchy humor that like I feel like it's just not accepted anymore.
Have you followed like the Linus Tech Tip stuff?
No.
So you know about Linus, right?
Yeah,
like the most PC guy in the world.
Is that a pun?
No, yeah, both.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
But like, he is out here. This was a couple months back, dude. This was fucking brilliant. This guy's out here on his little podcast that he does every week. Like they've extended now for 4 hours long, but they make about 40,000 a podcast. So like I can understand why they keep it up as long as they do. But yeah, he's sitting out there like, man, yeah, the times have really changed a lot. Like the time, like he was saying, yeah, the times have changed a lot. Like a lot of things are no longer acceptable that back in the day were very normal. Like I remember back in the day, I used to drop the hard R everywhere. I'd constantly say it, and now if I imagine my kids were to say it, like it'd be a bit weird.
Yeah, he was referring to the disability hard R, not the AR.
Yes.
Everyone.
Is this?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh man, that was such a beautiful clip.
He was so blissfully unaware. He was like, no. "Oh,
no, I mean,
yeah. You definitely don't say that." Let's be honest. We've all said the hard.
Oh, it was so funny though.
2015.
It was so funny. Like, oh boy, it's like, oh, it's in the same vein as MatPat saying like, I have never watched porn. Remember that clip?
No, I don't.
That was on like a live stream, like a Q&A live stream or so, where he was like, they were under fire for like, oh yeah, back in the day, like you used to over sexualize your topics, like you'd focus on on like sexual things of characters in games. He's like, well, no, that's completely impossible because for me, nothing is sexual because I'm completely honest in saying that I have never ever watched porn. And everyone's like, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So, you never answer my question. Boobs or butt?
I'll go for butt.
Okay. Good man. Good man. Do you have any more questions? Does chat have any questions for either of us?
Yeah, if
too?
anyone has questions for him in chat, let us know.
Either of us too. I mean, like, I feel like there's been a lot that's happened, and I mean, you probably keep up to date with your community, though. You probably tell them what's going on.
Sort of. I mean, like last year, I haven't really posted much at all. I think it was around this time that, like around this time last year, that like one of my close family members got diagnosed with a very bad disease.
I'm sorry.
Which made me realize that, like, oh shit, you don't always have like the future that you think you have. Especially because they were not at risk of anything. Like, they weren't like a risk group. They were super young, like only a few years older than me. And around that time, like last year, like the thing that I was doing was like I was doing like streams every single weekday, and I was doing like my school stuff and trying to figure out something for YouTube. But I was trying to do everything with YouTube all at once because I was like, okay, I'm streaming 5 days a week, but I also want to like add in like new content types. But it's kind of hard to do that while you're also streaming 5 days a week. So like I didn't really do anything outside of just school and YouTube, or like school and Twitch. So basically that was my life, and I was like, it's fine because like I work hard now and then enjoy it later. But then I realized, well, shit, maybe there is no later, because it got me to realize, like, man, what if it were to be me? What if I got that diagnosis? And I asked myself the question: would I have been happy with the last half a year or last year of my life? And my answer was a resounding no. So yeah, then I was like, I'm gonna go and just focus on finishing school. I'll put like content creation to the side, and then we'll come back to it when school's done.
Yeah, just to have that backup, that back plan, that plan B and whatnot, just in case.
Yeah, well, that was the idea with school, but I mean, like for me, like just taking the step back from content creation was just like have a life, just do something with friends again. Because I didn't really used to do that. How was that for you? Like moving all the way across the country to like a place that you didn't know, that you didn't really have people that you grew up with.
Different. I came in with the impression that everybody was genuine. They mean what they said, and they're very like face value, which is what I'm used to. Growing up in Central Florida, it's different people. People are very. Sometimes they're a little more blunt, but at least everybody here, for the most part, says what they mean. Yeah. With a couple outlier snakes, obviously, but it was a lot more. It was a lot harder to figure out who was real and who wasn't out there. Most relationships that you make are based off of some sort of industry connection. So you don't know what, at the end of the day, if you're friends with somebody because you're an editor or because you're a photographer and you like to do collaborations a lot, and most of the times we hang out are to do collaborations. So it gives that level of like uncertainty, and yeah, so it made it a little bit hard to meet friends and whatnot, but I was busy with the industry anyway. I didn't have a whole lot of time. I only had a couple days off most of the time during the week, but
yeah. Sounds like that must have been quite a like tough thing to discover when you came there.
I kind of had an inkling of an idea. I just didn't know it was real. I like to always give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and just to be like, you're cool. And if you burn me and stuff, then you're not cool. But yeah, they're very slick about how people, how the people in LA they move kind of like in silence, like you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back type thing, but it's not obvious. So I mean, again though, if you're going there for business, then it's fine, because those are the connections you make, those are the kind of relationships that you make, and they're good because they will produce more fruit and more work down the road. It really is just the LA game industry is really just about who you know and who knows you. Yeah. And when they need something done that you can do, they call you up as opposed to somebody else. So I'm not salty about the relationships that I made out there. I have some friends that are still good, but like, yeah, it's been more for work than pleasure.
I feel it's very it sounds very similar to like the YouTube climate, which I really despise, because like I've had the same kind of thing especially when I stopped doing those events. Like I really noticed that, you know, people that I would normally just hang out with for what is it, like we'd be in a call for 8 hours just to like chill and talk, and all of a sudden they just didn't have time to talk anymore, or even worse, like they just not respond to anything. And it'd just be so weird because like I remember very clearly when I joined, there'd be people, especially on Tentacons, being like, "Oh man, like you've done so well because you know you're all there with like all the big YouTubers." Like, bro, like these are just people I like to hang out with. I don't care their numbers, but apparently some of those did.
Social climbing. That's all most people see
yeah.
whenever they're on that. Just the social climbing, yeah.
And like it's so like one of the things that I find so hard when it comes to like this YouTube game sort of thing is that it's really hard to reach out to other people who do this sort of stuff, because like I don't really have a lot of people around me physically that do this sort of stuff that are interested in making videos and that kind of stuff. So the only way that I'd find them is via online. But how the hell you're just gonna like you can't reach out to the people you watch because like none of them have open Twitter DMs or, you know, you can shoot them a Discord message. So you're just kind of like, you have to hope that one day one of them reaches out to you or you run into them in some sort of convention. But otherwise, you know, you're just out there by yourself, and the people that you do run into most of the time just want something from you. So it's kind of lonely.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to balance that when you're. Yeah, I think you're right. YouTube and the industry is just kind of it's just a battlefield when it comes to just figuring out.
And what
which friends you have there's times you have to realize like which people you have to just keep as friends and keep a hand distance, an arm length distance, and then some people you can actually like, for instance, you and Philip. I feel we're far more like actual friends than like just another peer that I was making content with.
Yeah, it's like one of the things that I really hated to learn about that made me hate this situation is when I like saw this interview with like Jacksepticeye, who said the exact same thing. Or is like, yeah, I can't really make connections with people because, you know, like it's all about like the numbers and stuff. Because
you never know when somebody's being genuine just to be genuine, or they're just trying to kiss ass or whatever. I can only imagine on like a scale to that level.
Yeah, because like I always thought that it would be, you know, like, hey, it's really hard as a small creator because everyone just assumes that, hey, if you have a couple hundred subscribers, like obviously like you're gonna reach out to try and like collab to grow. But if I were to be a PewDiePie right now, I'd have the most subscribers on the platform, then naturally I would never reach out to you to like try and grow my channel because there's no point. So thus, you know, like your connections would be more genuine. But then you'd find out, hey, you know, it's going to be the reverse because you feel like everyone that reaches out to you is trying to get something from you. Yeah, that's just...
Yeah, most of the time they are. I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the game. You know, if it's beneficial for this party and beneficial for your party, then it's a good thing. And like I said, if it blossoms into something that's potentially a better friendship, then act on that. But if you feel like it's just a stepping stone, then be transparent about that, and hopefully it benefits both parties.
Yeah. Let's see what we have here. Jen says, seriously, I just got here. What have you been doing, Cole?
Just to summarize what we're talking about, if you want to watch back the VOD, but basically I've just been in LA for the last 5 years, and I've been working on films and TV, various music videos, some award shows, just a various hodgepodge of things. Yeah, that's mainly it. Just I'm back in town now. I'm back in Florida, so I'm going to be working on some new stuff, and I don't know. I'm happy to be here with Michel. It's good to kind of be back on stream again. Feels kind of like old times.
It does. It's on the one hand kind of weird to make content again together because, man, it's been like, as you say, 5 years that you've been away. Like, it's a long time. Maybe that's why Warframe keeps coming back, because like the last times that we did something like this, like that was actually no, the last time that we did something like this, we have done a podcast in between, and like the last on the couch that we did was like Fortnite, I think.
Yeah.
Remember when Fortnite was our escape? We were like, oh man, we're gonna be part of the cool kids because we play Fortnite.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Have you seen? Well, actually, first up, before I talk about Fortnite, I wanted to, since we're getting into the gaming sphere a little bit. What are your thoughts on GTA 6? Because I know you made a video about it a little bit.
I put it as a stream title. It's like, I'm not gonna care too much about it right now because it's like, there's a 1.5 minute long trailer, mostly like just cinematics, rendered on who.
A lot of it's in-game footage though. I think most of it.
Where does it say that?
It doesn't, but I mean,
so
I wanna hope that that's remotely what they're, because I mean, I looked back on the previous GTA 5 trailer when it came out in 2000, I think 10 or 12, and all of that footage didn't look great, but it definitely looked like the in-game footage. It was actually pretty damn close to it.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
but I think Rockstar.
I look back at like Cyberpunk trailers from like the PS4 and Xbox One, and like they were like, oh yeah, this is rendered on these consoles, and it completely wasn't. And everyone was like, well, like I've heard some people say, like, well, you know, Rockstar has a better reputation, so like they won't do that. Like, man, I remember when Cyberpunk was the thing, they were like, dude, CD Projekt Red is like the best studio because look at The Witcher, they never lie about something. It comes out when it's done. Just like there's no doubt. Like I've heard this story before so many times, so like I'd be super happy to believe it. But yeah, like right now I'm just like, well,
I feel you. There's criticism. There's reason to be critical, but I think, like I said, I think there's a better reputation behind this production company and this game house studio. Everything in the past. I mean, if you take for example, Red Dead Redemption 2 graphics, if they're as good as that, maybe even better, which I'm hoping they're a little better, which is what they're saying, then I mean, I couldn't see why that wouldn't be close to what we're going to be experiencing in game.
Yeah, like maybe it's because I just don't have that much experience with the franchise. So it's going to be something coming up for.
Have you played Red Dead Redemption 2 before?
I have played it for like, I played it by myself, 2018 or so, 2019, just for like
it's gorgeous. I mean, yeah, that came out in 2018. Shit. I'm hoping that it's better than the graphics in there, but I mean the graphics there are freaking gorgeous too. I mean the mustache physics by themselves are amazing.
The bowl physics, the horse bowl physics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean
I like how that's where your mind went to. I was like mustaches and you're like horse balls. Yeah,
bro, like that. I remember those articles so well.
I know what you were looking at the entire game, just watching your nutsack just hang back and forth.
Going into the cold areas, going into where I remember those articles so well. Just like everyone be like, oh man, like the horse's balls, they shrink and they expand with the temperature. Everyone's around like, bro, that's what you're reporting on. Sure, okay, I'll take that. Cool. But yeah, no, it's so like for me, it's like it looks cool, but I'll be happy when it's there. And before that, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's like 2 years away too, so we shouldn't even be too fussed about it.
How about you?
Looks cool. I'm excited for it. I've been like, waiting like 12 years, so looking forward to it.
A little while,
but
you're gonna play it on your channel?
Probably, I'll probably do some. I'm just imagining how good the RP servers are gonna be once it's fully out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
There is a big like YouTube community around that.
There's huge. Yeah. Have you heard of this guy Stack Swapo?
No. What's about it?
Stack Swapo is something somebody I've been watching since like 2022, I think, or the end of 21.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it was 22. And this guy is just ridiculous. He does a role play of he's a black guy, and he just role plays being a white dude.
Wow.
And does and says the most outlandish, wildest shit. And it's just, I don't know, it's just funny. But yeah, the role play community is huge, and it's just there's a bunch of fun stuff that you do.
Yeah, I met a huge bunch of them at Twitchcon, but back then I didn't really know much about that. So it was like they were all like, oh, like hey, like what do you do? And they were like, yeah, I do GTA roleplay. I was like, oh, what's that? And then they talk about that.
How do you feel about Lego doing a Fortnite club?
What?
You didn't know about this?
No.
It's live right now. Actually, it came out this morning.
Lego.
I'll be playing it on my stream later today if you want to join.
Sure. If I'm not asleep by then, but sure, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like Minecraft but Legos. It's open world, procedurally generated, similar crafting, similar exploration, caves, dungeons, etc. So it's like kind of an open world Minecraft but Legos.
Wow.
And of course they're rendered pretty well because of the Unreal Engine 5, and so it looks good.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like you're playing. You ever seen one of those Lego movies, like Lego Batman and stuff? It's kind of like you're just playing a movie. It's kind of cool, to be honest.
It's kind of funny how like Minecraft was back in the day, like, oh yeah, playing virtual Legos, and then you got like physical Minecraft Legos, and now you have virtual Legos that simulate Minecraft. It's like
the only thing that's changed is that you just see the little Lego logo on every single thing in the game. Everything textured in the game has the word Lego about 40 times at least.
Just like everything in the Lego movie, that was just a like 1.5 hour long advertisement, which actually did quite well. Like,
Buy our toys.
yeah, it just goes to show like at what point like how like where our animated movies are at, that like a 1.5 hour long toy advertisement was perceived as like one of the best movies at the time.
Oh yeah.
Boy.
I mean, I was a huge Transformers kid when I was growing up with my brothers, and I realized as I got older, I was like, wow, the original Generation 1 anime kind of style of a Transformers show, like literally was just a massive advertisement. It started as that, just for buy our toys. And then there's all lore expanded, and then, you know, now we have like the Michael Bay Transformer franchise. Like, it's kind of nuts that all stemmed from just like, hey, buy our toys.
Yeah, like, bro, there's so many. I mean, like, the entire Pokemon thing was also just like get toys, and all the spin-offs from that were also just get toys. But yeah. Like I remember like the first Transformers movie, like the Michael Bay movie. Man, that was at a certain point in time was my favorite movie. Like, I watched that so much, and looking back at it is like, bro, like,
I mean, there's still so many great quotes from it.
True, but it's like the fact that at a point in time was like my favorite movie is like, oh my god.
I mean, for 2012, it was pretty graphically like pretty intense. It was a
for sure, like
visual eye molestation. Like, that's really what it was.
Yeah. Speaking of like streaming and Twitch, by the way, like next year, Twitchcon, would you be interested in going?
If I stream more and I actually get to a schedule, which I started for a little bit, I think I want to get back into it. I want to be more involved in the community before I do something like that. I'd probably go just to see, because I've never been to it.
We should get you to partner before that, because then like you can join in the parties, and
that would be kind of cool. Okay, that could be a goal.
Yeah.
Like, wait, when is Twitchcon?
I think October.
Oh, we got time.
Yeah, we have time.
We got plenty of time.
I mean, like that's one thing next year. I want to go attend some conventions. Like, TwitchCon was fun, but one of the things that I did like about TwitchCon was that like I was there by myself. Like, I was
just about to say, if you're going to a convention or something like that, you need to have like a partner in crime or somebody to like be there. Wait for content. You can film each other. You can, you know, there's more things you can do.
Like, I had fun with TwitchCon. Like I met a couple of people there, which I we had a good time. But like a lot of them also had to like present things on stage and that sort of stuff. So like you couldn't just hang out with them. So it was kind of like I really enjoyed my time, because basically like at TwitchCon they had like this area where they were just serving food the entire day. So I just kind of like sat there eating food and then talking to people. But I missed fucking around, like what we did on like the 10.
Kind of reminds me of the what's it called, the glory days of like Joji, Ian, and his boys going to like TwitchCon and just basically just fucking with people. Yeah.
No, it's like
for the content, of course.
I mean, like I managed to like I come into TwitchCon, like the very first thing that I do is like I go to like the big presentation area where they're like doing a rehearsal of like the big reveals that they want to do, like that 55% ad split, that sort of stuff. Was supposed to be completely sealed off. I'm just kind of like sitting there, like literally, I sat there for like 15 minutes or so. I also filmed there because like I was just like doing my little vlogs. I've done like 3 or 4 times of me walking into that room, and then just like me walking up to the seat, and just like me talking, doing my piece to camera, that sort of stuff. I did all of that, and all of a sudden like someone comes up to me, is like, this is a rehearsal. Like, are you supposed to be on stage? I'm like, no, I'm just sitting here. And like, well, you're not supposed to be here. Did you film anything? I'm just like, no. With my camera, big rig in hand. It's like, no. It's like, okay, so could you please leave? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought that this thing was supposed to be open. And then
what the hell? It's their fault for leaving it open to you.
And then the very next thing that I do is like I wander off into the hallway, go to the left, and then walk into like the makeup area. And I was
so well organized.
Yeah, it was fun. But like those were the only like mischievous bits that I did, because otherwise it was just like a convention. And then I just realized how boring a convention this is by itself.
Yeah,
it's just people trying to sell shit. It's just kind of like, okay, cool, fun, but yeah.
All right, I would go. I definitely. We'll make this a temp plan.
Yeah.
I think if I'm partnered before that.
Either like TwitchCon if you get partnered, and otherwise we need to look at VidCon or whatever. Just like some sort of convention that we can trash.
I'm down. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there any English questions in this chat right here?
Yeah, what's going on with this?
Don't worry.
Walang. What is this?
Don't worry,
what are they?
It's a fame, and Jen, like they're like a fame likes to speak many different languages. So sometimes there's this.
What is he saying though?
I mean, ask a fame. I mean, like it's not for me to know. Be bored to
Jin, which?
be bored together. Yeah, that's the entire point. Bro, like, oh, remember those vlogs from like FidCon, with like iDubbbz and MaxMofo where they fresh Jackson's like hotel room, that they're just like, you see them come in there and then all of a sudden like they get like the next, like Ian gets like has to do his like little dance that he did for his 100,000 subscribers, and then like
kick.
yeah, and then in like the next shot like they have someone complain about the noise, and like I think both iDubbbz and MaxMofo are just like in their underwear just like saying some weird shit and stuff, and I'm just like, bro, that's so convention vibes. Like that's a big fun part of content creation, like just those conventions and that weird shit.
Yeah, the unpredictableness of it.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that's.
I was about to say, I think, do you have any more questions, or are we good? What do you think?
No, I think that we're good. It's been a long time since we've done content together. It's been a long time for me since doing a podcast and stuff.
I don't want to speak on anything too soon, but I would definitely like to do some stuff with you in the future, whether it's for the channels or some sort of extravaganza stream type thing. I was streaming last night, and I think there were some people that were excited for some season 2 of On the Couch, so maybe we can do something similar to that, if not something new for the Twitch Will Fest.
We let's just say I'd be down. Let's just talk like off the podcast so that we can kind of like throw the shit and just see whatever we feel like doing.
Oh yeah, of course.
So that we don't have to, so that we don't throw in promises like, oh man, we're gonna be doing, I don't know, whatever, and then like we're gonna try and attempt to get you on like 2 porn fetish sites now instead of 1. Like, remember that?
Yes, we have to work on that still.
Oh boy, that was so weird.
But yeah, no, I don't want to say anything in stone. I just wanted to let your community know and let you know as well, just that I'm definitely down to brainstorm some ideas for both channels, because I think I would love to start posting again on my channel. I think I'm going to start posting not insanely soon, but I'm going to start basically just documenting a bit of my journey as a filmmaker from Florida, working on the things that I'm going to be working on in the next year. And I think that I want to have some stuff to put in between that stuff. So it would be cool to put some content with you and whoever else would love to kind of get on board. Yeah. Because I'll be honest, I'm assuming it's the same way for you. Like I don't have many other people that I talk to that I used to talk to that still make content. True. Most people are just done. Most people are, they threw in the towel, and so I would like to continue doing stuff. I mean, like I said, I have even better skills and things that are honed in a little better because of the sharpening that LA has given me. And I think I definitely would like to use that and maybe produce some stuff that is just a little more meaningful and a little more like has a little more oomph behind it. Yeah, so. I think that that's definitely, like, you're hitting the nail on the head, and I also think that we can much better utilize it. Because exactly. Literally what we did with On the Couch is like we made this stream and we just posted it in like a random YouTube channel. Like, imagine all the clips that we could have just grabbed from that. Like, we did a meme review. Like, that could have just been a video on its own. Oh, we easily could actually.
And then like what we did, like, we did so little of it. It's so annoying. Like, I watch it back and it's like we started out with like meme review for 30 minutes. That could have been edited down to like a very nice 10-minute video of just like boom, meme review.
Or even for the shorts too. You could do like quick little bits.
And then we did an hour and a half where we just played random ass Warframe. If we did like 30 minutes of that, like we split that hour and a half into 3 sections of 30 minutes where we said, okay, this is gonna be our task now. This is gonna be our task now. That's gonna be our task now. It could have been just as fun. We could have like recorded 4 videos in that stream, just like posted that every week. 4 videos, like two on each channel, like, but we didn't do that. So there's a lot more that we could do.
Opportunity.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we definitely will get some stuff cooking in the meantime. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the stream. Thank you for the podcast, Michel.
Yeah, thank you for joining on. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to the podcast of 2 young old buckos reminisce about some of the days and what's been happening in between.
And look forward to the future days as well. Yeah. Don't forget about that. We can't get too stuck on the past. We gotta keep making some stuff, you know.
No, but the one thing that I'm afraid of is overpromising. Just keep them in the dark.
That's why I said I don't want to say anything just yet. I just want to let you and them know that I would definitely like to work on some stuff in behind the scenes, and we'll see if we can get some cooking.
Yeah, sounds good. All right,
enough said.
We'll see you guys around. Let me check one really quickly. What, are YouTube still...
Are you going live again today or what?
Not today, because it's like... What time is it? It's like 9:30 p.m. Oh,
Okay.
no, YouTube is dead again. The YouTube chat don't work. That's unfortunate. Well, that's fine. It's whatever. All right, well, see you guys around. What time you're going live?
I'm going live in an hour, I believe.
All right, well, maybe I'll still be able to catch that. So,
yeah, you catch it if you want to. If you want to, hop on, update the game if you want to check it out.
all right. Well, I'll see you guys around. Thank you all so much for watching, listening to the podcast. There'll be more podcasts in the future. Maybe not so soon as this one, because I don't really have many more people planned. This kind of happened just by chance. But hey, maybe this sends an influx of like a whole bunch of people, you know, asking to be on the podcast. I don't expect it at all, but who knows? Maybe I'll run into.
Spam PewDiePie's DMs, everybody watching the stream, and make sure we can get him on the next podcast interview.
Bro, like this is gonna be like the H3 podcast where like the second episode is gonna be PewDiePie, and then this is gonna be downhill from there.
Right, you peak.
You
got it. The first question you got to ask him is about the bridge video.
Oh
bridge
yeah.
clip. Just be like, what was going on through your head?
Man's got a kid right now
all right.
living in Japan, completely like retired from YouTube. First question you ask him is the bridge again.
Yeah. Just bring it back into it.
All right, well, I'll see you guys around, eh?